Donald Trump is still president and still humiliating America. But I don't want to talk about that bad dream this week. I want to talk about a truly inspirational public figure named Taylor Swift. Okay. Like a lot of you, I struggle with how to stand up to bullies without letting their meanness infect me and change me.
You're the head of the FBI.
I mean, make you honest?
Become like Trump and his followers. Thank you, Taylor Swift. Keep the faith.
I'm sure she'll take your advice to heart. I'll tell you who needs to get kicked off the globe. James Comey.
Well, that's impossible.
And it's funny. It's cringe-inducing, and I warn you, this is like over a minute, and it's been cut down from 6 minutes.
Ugh.
But I remember I've told you this in the past where the left, they overuse the term gaslighting. And the reason they use that is because that's what they do. So James Comey, first off, he's a Swiftie. Okay. And he talks about how being a Swiftie allowed him to stand up to bullies like Donald Trump and gave him the strength. Here's the thing. We now know beyond any shadow of a doubt that they were spying on the Trump campaign, right? That the Russia collusion hoax is just that, a hoax. It was fabricated and it was leaked to the media. We know all of these things. And he complains and talks about how Donald Trump was the only man who would come after me. And Donald Trump was the only man who I felt the need to record conference because I didn't trust. When in reality, he was part of a fabricated campaign to destroy a man's reputation, his ability to make a living, his family, his legacy. And I would imagine that President Trump was probably aggressive and aggravated. Hey, if you were in your workplace and there was an employee who was falsifying emails, pictures to try and get you fired and sending them to your wife, that you were cheating on her and you knew that it wasn't true, but people were believing it. Everyone was. Do you think you'd maybe be mad? And do you think you'd maybe be a little aggressive with that guy? And then would that man, James Comey, in this example, would he be entitled to feign outrage and claim victim status? That's what James Comey has done. And that's why I believe that James Comey should face serious charges and jail time for his crimes. But that's not what we're discussing today. More important is that he's a Swiftie, and he's been a fan of her since he was a fully grown man and she was 14.
Donald Trump is still president and still humiliating America on a national stage, standing next to Vladimir Putin. It's like a dream, a bad dream you can't wake up from. But I don't want to talk about that bad dream this week. I want to talk about a truly inspirational public figure named Taylor Swift.
This is a hostage video.
Taylor Swift and I go way back. I went to my first concert of hers 15 years ago.
It was creepy then.
I've been to a second, and I have helped financially support the attendance of a lot of family members at others. I'm in a family's Swiftie group chat.
That's so sad.
I know all her music, and I listen to it in my headphones when I cut the grass.
Just do fantasy football like a real man.
Although honestly, for me, it's a tie between All Too Well, 10-minute version, and Exile featuring Bon Iver. At every stage of her career, she's shown a certain way of being that resonated with my kids.
Petulant and
felt
idiotic?
right to me as a parent. And she's still doing that as a grown-up.
Okay.
Like a lot of you, I struggle with how to stand up to bullies without letting their meanness infect me and change me.
You're the head of the FBI.
I mean, make you honest?
Become like Trump and his followers. There are far more decent, honest, kind people in America than there are mean jerks. And don't get me wrong, we have our jerks, millions of them.
I'm looking at one.
You may have noticed. Of course we need to stand up to jerks and defend what matters. But I think we have to try to do that without
Namely,
becoming
Swiftie's catalog.
like them. Which is what makes me think about Taylor Swift. She's made clear that she sees Donald Trump for what he is. And last year she urged Americans not to make the serious mistake of electing him. Of course, we're now living with the consequences of that mistake. But
no, you are, because we know you were involved in a hoax.
The president is posting about whether Taylor Swift is still hot and declaring that he can't stand her. What's she doing? Living her best life, producing great music, and, as she urged all of us to do during the podcast,
why
not giving the jerks power over her mind. At my second Taylor Swift concert in Hartford, Connecticut, 14 years summer, she sang a song about
why
this
does
topic,
this exist?
asking,
this for backstage
why you gotta be so mean?
Why you gotta be so mean?
And she spoke directly to the nasty people. Thank you, Taylor Swift. Keep the faith.
I'm sure she'll take your advice to heart. First off, this reminds me of Office Space. Michael Bolton?
Yeah.
I celebrate his entire catalog. Like, it's a joke, and he doesn't realize that it's a joke. Also, what you just saw is the problem of feminism personified. What do I mean? I mean valuing the wrong things. I mean valuing nice. Hey, Hitler was nice to kids. Osama bin Laden was nice to kids. You have plenty of horrible people who are nice. It's their actions that define them. Comey believes he's nice. Comey is underhanded, dishonest, and a man of no integrity. Who would you rather deal with? Someone who's rough around the edges? Someone who sends out mean tweets? Someone who tells you things that you don't like to hear, but you can count on to be the same person? Or somebody who can't be relied upon to pick up your children from school, even if he gives you his word, but he does it with a smile? Feminism says nice matters. Patriarchy, masculinity, says that integrity, reliability, dependability, and discipline matters. If I have to pick, and Donald Trump is a very flawed man, if I have to pick a Donald Trump, or by the way, anyone like George Washington, or a Jefferson, or a Teddy Roosevelt, over a Comey or Barack Obama type, I'm going with the strong man who may be a little tougher to deal with every single time. Yeah, you know who wasn't nice? Winston Churchill. That's why he was voted out only a couple years after he helped fight off the axis of evil. You know why? Because he wasn't nice enough to want socialized health care. So it's not a small thing. That is feminism personified. That is a weak, weak man, and weak men lie, and weak men are untrustworthy. And you know who loves weak men? Taylor Swift. It's clear as day. This isn't anything new, by the way. So I don't want to be too harsh on him. Plenty of intelligence officials have taken cues and great influence from the pop stars of their time. Who can forget J. Edgar Hoover professing his undying love for Cher?
Do you believe in life after love?
And of course, there was the poorly received Joseph McCarthy, Ziggy Stardust era.
There's a starman waiting in the sky.
And some were a swing and a miss. Who can forget the big flop with, of course, the head over there, Christopher. Baby, I was born this way. The point is, gay. All right.
Hey, you know what? You could be a pastor somewhere with that effeminate kind of male thing that you got going on. That's I hate seeing that. Listen, it doesn't mean you have to, be some guy that goes out and crushes beers on your skull or something.
No,
like that,
of course not.
That.
Here's what I've been complaining about bullying when you were the head of the FBI at one point.
Yeah.
For 4 years, you were the head of the FBI, and you're complaining about bullying?
Well, here's the thing, too. That's
a weird thing.
It's really easy for them to act nice. Like, think about it. Everyone thought that Barack Obama was hey, he's the kind of guy you want to have a beer with. By the way, best way to follow me is download the Rumble app. Follow me there. You'll get this show. We're live weekdays at 11 a.m. Eastern. Don't be tied to an algorithm on social media. Think about this. He accuses Donald Trump of bullying. Donald Trump was wealthy? Sure. But we all know that wealth doesn't necessarily get you into office, right? As seen by spending more money than ever, the Kamala Harris campaign. Christopher Wray, Barack Obama, and of course you can sort of add in Hillary Clinton, they all took part in a concerted campaign to spy on, destroy the reputation of, and leak false information against one man who they didn't like. Can you think of any more clear example of bullying than that?
Right.
But because Donald Trump said, go screw yourself or whatever, we're supposed to believe he's the bully? The most powerful people on earth tried to secure their positions of power by, as a gang, bullying an individual they didn't like, who, by the way, was supported by the American public. And just to be clear, and I know, Ray, the timeline, he's gone after that, but after Donald Trump did win, they still trumped up a fabricated campaign to delegitimize him, knowing that it was false. They were bullying you. These people in position, when people say, hey, it's a big club and you're not in it, they're talking about the Rays, the Obamas, the Clintons, the Bidens. You understand that they're not talking about the Trumps. They're not talking about a real estate agent from New York. I can't think of a worse bully, and a bully more corrosive to the American fabric. You want to know why you don't trust your institutions? The left wants to blame you and they want to create a Department of Misinformation. It's Christopher Wray. It's Comey. That's why you don't trust your institutions, and you shouldn't. Vagina is exactly what I would say if I wasn't here on YouTube. So go and subscribe on Rumble. Same channel where free speech is actually alive and well. Or you can stay here and the